I have a love-hate relationship with Metroidvania games, which is to say, I'd like to love them, and I do have a lot of fun when playing them sometimes. But they also tend to be rather frustrating, because I'm not very good at timing pixel-perfect jumps. Okay, maybe I'm just not very good at jumping in video games at all. And so, as much as I do like to play Metroidvania games, I often struggle to finish them. But that's just another reason why Ori and the Blind Forest is so special. It has one of the best traversal systems of any Metroidvania game I've played. It combines that system with a hard-hitting story and unique boss fights to create an experience that's incredibly memorable. So much so that I had a lot of fond memories about the game, despite having played it years and years ago. And so recently, when I saw that the Definitive Edition was on sale on Steam, I decided let's go back. Let's see if Ori was as good as I remembered. And as it turns out, not only was it as good as I remembered, it's still one of the best Metroidvanias I've ever played. Ori and the Blind Forest opens with a somber tone. The light of a spirit tree has been taken, and as a result, the life of a forest is failing. You begin as Ori, a sprite who's small and very weak. She's constantly surrounded by much larger and more powerful foes, and always has to take care to hide and avoid the wrath of a malevolent Kura, the owl who stole the spirit tree's light. But because you're small, you're also fast, and at the start of the game, you'll have a lot of options to run around and avoid most of your foes' attacks. Sure, they're going to hit much harder than you, but they're heavy, and they move in predictable manners. Whereas you don't, and this is something the game continues to expand and build off of. At the start of the game, you have basic mobility tools. You can run around, and you can jump. Very quickly, you'll be able to wall jump, going from platform to platform, and then handling verticals with ease. Soon, wall jumping will become wall running, and wall running will become flying. Well, okay, Ori can't actually fly, but she does gain the ability to glide using one of Kuro's stolen feathers, and furthermore, she gains the ability to launch herself off of objects including enemies. So, if an enemy's flying in midair and attacking you, or simply shooting inconvenient projectiles, you can not only protect yourself from damage, but also gain quite a bit of air. Combine this with a feather, and all of a sudden, you're falling with quite a lot of style. And all of these features combine to make a game that feels incredibly smooth to play, while also kind of tricking you into mastering it. Because the game doesn't have traditional boss fights. Instead, they're more of boss gauntlets. You're not fighting Kuro directly. Instead, you're trying to escape from a force of nature that far outstrips you. And when you do this, you have to use all of your mobility and the game's excellent traversal system. For example, after you recover the element of water, the area you're in begins to flood, and you have to escape pretty quickly in order to avoid being drowned. And here is that escape. Now, despite what it may look like, these gauntlets are challenging. Each one took me about 30 minutes worth of attempts, but they help you master skills that apply everywhere else in the game. The sound, the visuals, and the gameplay all flow together in a way that's just fucking awesome. Once you complete one of these, you feel invincible. You are a god and this world is your plaything. At least until you encounter the next area and realize there's a totally new set of challenges that you were completely unprepared for, and then you fail miserably. But that's just one of the beauties of Ori and the Blind Forest. And it's a very beautiful game. I absolutely love the hand-painted backgrounds. I love the way the gentle, almost serene OST gives you quiet moments in between the intense action. The world is vibrant, and early on most areas are dark. You have to explore furtively, cowering the shadows while the putrid glow of corruption leers down at you from every angle. But as you progress, your actions have consequences. Once you purify the element of water, all the water in the different stages is clean. Now, instead of falling into the water and facing almost instant death, you can go and take a nice leisurely swim. Oh, except for, the Ori-eating piranhas. They're not too friendly, but at least your spirit fire works underwater, so that's a plus. And this sense of preparation is important, because by the time you reach the bright and fiery areas of Mount Horu, the floor is lava, so you better make sure to not touch any ground. Something that at that point you're well equipped to do. And as great as Ori's gameplay is, it's not all about the gameplay. Ori and the Blind Forest also has a hard-hitting story about love, loss, and found family. I generally don't go into Metroidvania games expecting more than some exploration and solid gameplay. If there's story, it's nice, but more often than not, it's really about, here's a castle, go kill everything in it, and I'm totally fine with that. So, Ori caught me a little bit off guard the first time I played it, because it starts with Ori, and the tale of a mother's love for her children. It starts with Kuro stealing the light of a spirit tree, and killing the forest, but doesn't really give you any answers as to why. Is she just evil? Has she been fighting against the spirit tree for eternity? You don't know. And I'm not going to spoil it here, but what I will say is, Ori and the Blind Forest ends with a mother's love for her children, and her sacrifice to protect them. Though that sacrifice may end up surprising you. So is Ori and the Blind Forest the best Metroidvania game ever made? It's hard to say. Different people play games for different reasons. But it absolutely is my favorite Metroidvania. The traversal system is unique. I haven't found anything even remotely similar. The music and scenery are beautiful, and very much remind me of my favorite Ghibli movie, Mononoke Hime. And the story can be genuinely heart-wrenching. And so now, I turn the question over to you. If you've played Ori and the Blind Forest before, or if you haven't played Ori and the Blind Forest at all, what's your favorite Metroidvania? Let me know some of those thoughts down in the comments below. And of course, before I get going, a special thanks to my patrons and channel members for the continued support. For as low as $1 a month, you can help make videos just like this one possible. And if you have played Ori and the Blind Forest before, you might remember, there is a sequel, Ori and the Will-O-the-Wisps. So who knows, maybe in the near future, I'll have a video covering that as well.